Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is daf Beis, the first daf in Kesubos. Um, I want to talk today about what most of this daf talks about the concept of onus, right? It talks about it in two regards. There's onus when it comes to halacha on daf Nun Zayin and Kesubos, what you agree with a woman, you say to a woman who you're engaged to, I want to get married, right? Get married, not like nowadays people get married after 6 weeks or two months. No, you have to give her 12 months. So she needs 12 months to get her wedding dress, the right measurements for a $10,000 wedding dress. So she needs she needs to get ready. You give her 12 months if she's never been married before. So that time comes and there's an onus, right? For example, the case of our Mishnah, there's an onus that after the date of the 12 months exactly, it falls out on a Sunday or a Monday. You have to wait till Wednesday to get married because a certain period in history you only got married on Wednesday nights. So therefore, even though normally if the date falls out 12 months and you for some reason the man doesn't want to get married, you have to still feed her. You have to give her mazonos, and you have to let her eat truma. If you're a Kohen getting married to Israelis, you have to let her eat truma. Uh, that does not apply if it falls out not on Wednesday. You have to wait till Wednesday. So you're onus, so that she doesn't get to eat till Wednesday night. Then the Gemara proceeds based on that. The Gemara concludes also, which is the halacha we paskin, that even if there's a different type of onus, for example, he's sick, he's on bed rest, he broke some bones, I don't know, he tore his Achilles, he can't get married, he can't walk down the chuppah. So if he's sick or she's sick or she menstruates, you're not supposed to, better not to get married when she has a period. Could be according to some Rishonim, it's not actually a valid chuppah, or even if it is a valid chuppah, you still want to be able to have via the night of the first night of the marriage. So you can delay the wedding. So she's still an onus. When onus happens, just like our Mishnah, she doesn't get to eat until they actually get married. She doesn't get to claim, oh, now it's 12 months, I get to eat right away. So there is a tinus onus when it comes to this. Now, this is a din derabanan, right? Because it's a din derabanan to allow her to eat, because technically the rabbanan really she's allowed to eat. She's allowed to get mazonos tonight based in that she gets mazonos as an arusa. Even when she's engaged, she's entitled to mazonos to a certain extent. The rabbanan said, wait till you get. Technically, the husband only has to. The way it's practiced is only when they actually get married. And the same thing when it comes to truma, she's allowed to, from the engagement, she's allowed to eat truma, but the rabbanan said, exer the rabbanan, don't eat until that. So don't until you get married. So it's exer the rabbanan that she's not eating. So the rabbanan, you can very well understand. The Gemara says when there's an onus, the Gemara relaxed that, right? By heim amru v'heim amru. We generally say when the rabbanan institutes something, they said, right, better not to eat now. So they can continue their takana. They can say, okay, right, there's an onus that happens. So we're continuing our gzeira, our takana, and you have to wait till you actually get married because it's an onus. There's no onus. The Mishnah says on the Nzai, and they get to eat. But it's up to the Rabbanan. But now we're faced on Daf Gim, on Beis and Beis, with the sugya of Gittin, onus begittin. And the halacha is, we pass on like the first list in the Gemara, ain't onus begittin. What's the reason? Ain't onus begittin. Meaning what? That if you make a get, if you give a get, and an onus happens, the get is considered, you can't come and make a tiny. This is Rashi says. The Gemara says ain't onus begittin. Rashi says, ain't onus begittin, ain't tainas onus begittin. You don't have a taina, you don't have a valid claim to mavatal the get, right? The get you gave, even if an onus happens, and something we're going to see is relevant when you make a tanai, you make a stipulation in the get. For example, the cases in the Gemara, all the cases really are, I say I'm going to give you a get. If I don't come back to you, I don't return to you, he's going away for a certain amount of time, I don't come back in 30 days, I don't come back in 12 months. And then an onus happens. He really planned on coming back in 12 months, and it shouldn't be a get, but he's unable to come back. He got sick, or he died. These are things that are out of his control. So do we say that there's a tinus onus and say, no, that I didn't mean the stipulation under these conditions, and therefore it's mavatal the get? And the Gemara really concludes that midoraisa, it's seemingly the Gemara concludes from the lashon of the Gemara and Daf Gilman Aleph, midoraisa, it's heavy get. Yesh onus begit, and there is a tinus onus, right? I mean, there are bana mishum snuos uprutzos. They instituted that there's no tinus onus. Like Rava says, ain't onus begit, ain't tinus onus begit. That's really midarabana. That's why most people understand this Gemara. But there are some opinions, and the Gemara asks on Gimel Manal. We didn't get there yet, but the Gemara asked, how could they do that, right? If really Mido Raisa, there's Tanason, it's not a good get. They're still married. How could the Rabbanan? How could we allow her to be a good get and get married to somebody else? She's an Ashes Ish, right? She's getting married to somebody else. Her children Mam Zerim. So the Gemara asks, Afkinu Rabbanan the Kedushin Minei. The Rabbanan took away the Kedushin. Most Rishonim understand it to mean that they have the ability to remove the Kedushin. She was never married to the first guy. The Rashba says something very different. The Rashba says no. When we say Afkin Rabban Kedushin, maybe in other places the Gemara means that they were okay the Kedushin, but here it doesn't mean that. It means that they just said, even though the get seemingly should be invalid, here they said it is valid. So they were married. It's just they made the get a valid get. How do they do that over here? What's going on over here? How can you make it a valid get? So this is where it comes to, because we're talking about all these cases where there's a Tanai. And the Rush, the famous thing where the Rush says that Tanai is Milsa Achrisi, meaning a Tanai, when I give a get and I say, this is a get on condition, right, that I don't come back in 12 months. So there's two parts to your statement over here. There's a get. You wrote the get, you gave it to her, and then you made a stipulation. That stipulation does not have the same validity as the get itself, right? The Tanai is used to mavatal the get, right? If the Tanai is mekuyum, the Tanai happens, right? It doesn't come back in 12 months, then the get is batal, the get is batal. But you have to mavatal the get. So she had a cheskas, she was married to a man, and then you give her a get, so she's now cut off. She's cheskas muteris l'shuk, she's cut off. You need a Tanai to go, it's milsa achrisi, it has different validity, it's not the same validity. We talked more at the end of Yivamos, what percentage things are in terms of claiming the truth to certain things. Eidim have a certain amount of proof. It's not 100% proof, but it's valid for certain things. Rove has certain things, and a chazaka, we said a chazaka is like 75% chance. It's an assumption we make. So the get itself has maybe 100% validity or 90% validity, but the Tanai does not have that same validity. The Tanai is milsa achrisi, like the Rush says. It's something else. So the Tanai, where you're saying, right, and where we're judging whether the onus is a valid onus or not, right, where he's making a claim, no, it's not my fault, that is on the Tanai, right, coming back within 12 months. So Chazal were able to say, right, without getting into onus, right, it's a chazaka, it's assumption that people make that when they say they can come back in 12 months, they don't mean that they have to come back in 12 months if they get sick or if they die. They don't mean that, right? They meant if they're healthy and they don't come back. So all Chazal did over here, there's a chazaka, the Tanai is not as strong as the get itself. You need the Tanai to mavatal the get. And without sufficient proof that the Tanai, so therefore, when a person makes Tanai that he's going to come back in 12 months, it's an assumption. It's not Dvaram Shavalei will call them. We're not 100% sure. Like the Gemara is not really sure the difference between Chala, getting sick, and Misa. It's not 100% sure in everybody's mind that if he doesn't come back because he's sick or because he dies, he didn't mean to give the get. We could say Chazaka, we could assume, 70% chance, we could assume he meant to give it, he didn't mean to give it if he got sick. But there's a 25% chance he meant to give it even if he's sick. So therefore, Chazal had the ability to say over here, Mishum Snuos or Prutos, because they had valid reasons to say it over here, that they said that even though normally an onus would be valid by a get, let's say, right? If I give a get, and in the giving of the get, when I give the get to the wife, right, something happens on the delivery of the get to the wife, and it happens, right, yesh tainas onas begitten, I can say, I obviously didn't mean to give the get under certain circumstances, but when it comes to the t'nai of the get, the stipulation, right, of the get, that's weaker, that's only an assumption over there, so therefore Chazal could say that because it's only assumption, we don't invoke the t'nai over here to mavatal the get, we don't invoke the t'nai, because the snuos of prutos, they had a valid reason, right, because it's a chazak, it's an assumption. People generally mean when they give a get to come back after 12 months, they don't mean the t'nai, they don't mean the stipulation if they get sick. But that's only 75% valid. We don't know that to be 100%. So therefore, since we don't know it to be 100%, so therefore, Chazal the ability to say, it's not because it's valid with the rice or the rabbanon, because it's Chazal decided in the matter that it's not valid enough proof to mavatal the get. It's milsa achrisi. It's not valid enough. Chazaka, once you give her a get, so therefore she's migureshes. Then you have to go prove that she's not migureshes. So you don't have enough proof. You only have a chazaka. It's only 70% chance. There's still a 25% chance he maybe wanted to give the get, even if he was sick or even if he died. So therefore, there's no proof enough to mavatal the get, and that would be the explanation over here. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in Daf Gimel.